You know, Min Poike used to play with these guys. That didn't end so well. The question is, can he strike back? Can he make this tournament and not so well for them? Will he be able to send AWC home? Only 3 men on his roster, Acrolos, Min Poike, and Valet, already have made it much further than I think they expected, and definitely us here on the desk, and assuming you guys at home. Let's see how far they can get. My name is Rich. I'm joined by Zico, Healing Stat, and Venruki. Zico, how on earth can they make this possible? Is there one composition that ABC maybe has that could shut them down?
I mean, they struggled against the Mage Lock and Resto Druid. The Mage Ellie Resto Druid from ABC, which saw Cloud9 play the Mage Lock. I think Mage Ellie is really, really good as an answer in general to what the team of Change My Mind has been bringing, and it's kind of a guessing game because obviously the Resto Druid of Min Poike would be better in that matchup, but at the same time they might want to lock in the Holy Paladin to deny some other compositions, like maybe Jamie on that Windwalker. So again, Change My Mind is in a tough spot where they kind of have to guess which healer do we want to play here. And, you know, ABC having so much diversity with things like their Rogue Mage as well, they essentially have just the entire advantage in the blind. Yeah, looking at both of these teams though, Adrian, I feel like we can almost say that both of them have overperformed expectations headed into this LAN.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had both these teams in my predictions coming, joint last. I thought that ABC would probably struggle against Method Orange, just based on the fact Method Orange had been practicing more and had good compositions, to be honest. And on the side of Change My Mind, obviously, they had 3 members. I didn't rank them highly. Both of them now proving us all wrong, I think, with the top 4 finish. I don't think any of us expected them to overcome the likes of, the boys and Wildcard Gaming, respectively. And it's just going to be great to see these 2 teams actually tussle, fight it out, see which one does better. But I agree with Zico. I think if ABC can perfect a Mage Elemental Druid, it's going to be really difficult for Change My Mind. That said, out of the 2 teams, in terms of individual performance, I would give the skill advantage to Change My Mind.
Okay, skill advantage going the way of Change My Mind potentially right now. I think that they have managed to make a lot of us into believers, especially when you think about Valet needing to pretend to be Acrolos essentially at the previous LAN. Now he's here and playing with Acro. They look fantastic. The synergy between them after so many years of practicing together at this point is definitely there. Min Poike definitely starting to gel with this team. This is one of the best performances. You look at Min Poike and his track record. I saw a bunch of people in chat saying justice for Poike. You look at Poike since he wasn't on, I guess maybe they were Northern Blue by then, or no, they were already Method, I think, after he does depart from Waz and Raikou, and and Zuni as well. Mm-hmm. And since then, he really hasn't had a great run. This does seem to be that team, even in the online cups, where really, again, Poike's getting back up to the front lines, and now this could just be the tournament where he completely breaks through.
Yeah, I mean, back when Asgaroth decided he was no longer going to compete, ABC, they picked up Min Poike. Unfortunately, they weren't having the best results. Ooh, some chemistry issues there for their team, but look at the crowd favorites. Change My Mind right now, 84%. I mean, it's hard not to want these guys to win. They are the underdogs in this tournament, and they have just been putting on a show for us all.
I don't think chat's been wrong yet, so I actually think that it's just 100% fact right now. Change My Mind favored in this one. We'll have to see what ABC can do, though. They're going to be playing a composition that they have looked fantastic on for such a long time. You talk about some of the practice that maybe they missed based off the circumstances that they told us, and even talking to other teams, you go, well, ABC can rely on their Rogue Mage, and they have so many years of that composition under their belt that they can really make it work.
Yeah, I mean, Change My Mind, when I had a chance to talk to them after their last series, they said they weren't that worried about the Rogue Mage Druid, which surprised me. We'll have to see if ABC can make them eat their words, or if Change My Mind really does have a trick up their sleeve.
We see actually an immediate Hibernate Sheep combination coming out of ABC, that crowd control chain that saw them take down the boys. Asgraf and Alec, they've been playing together for years, even if they had that break during last year. These guys won BlizzCon together, they have that synergy. You can never underestimate a former BlizzCon champion. 2017 was the year of ABC. They have to see if 2019 they can get top 3 in the first LAN of the year. We see Blind going over onto Min Poike early in the game. He's actually sitting through that, though, as not much offense coming from Nixie.
Ooh, nice backup by Valet. Alec was looking for the follow-up Ring of Frost, but Valet with that leap of faith was able to grip Minpoike to safety, avoiding that crowd control, allowing Change My Mind to remain aggressive in this matchup. Good pressure here on Valet, but he's at a very defensive position with Minpoike. It's unlikely he's really going to get pressured down here. Asgarath now into a full blind, but with the amount of crowd control Change My Mind has available, Asgarath waits until a little bit more follow-up, but this could cost Alex his first ice block. He gets so low. 1%. Massive spell comes in, but unfortunately that was a kitty shot by Nixie. That was very greedy by Alec, and that almost cost him game number 1.
He was taking his best wealthy man cosplay there. No, I'm kidding, that's mean, but Alec, very, very close
shots
to the before
you sound like Rich.
Yeah, I know. That was harsh. But I mean, he's still in trouble. The smoke bomb coming out. We see Temporal Shield purged immediately. Big plays from Vilai on that Shadow Priest. It's so annoying for the Restoration Druid to play against the Shadow Priest with the constant spamming of that purge, removing the hots, removing the Temporal Shields, exposing Alec to the big raw damage of Changed My Mind. And, you know, I'm not even convinced that this is a favorable matchup for ABC. Changed My Mind so far have been looking fantastic. Not even a trinket from Minpoike so far.
Like I said, Changed My Mind, they weren't worried about this composition. ABC, I don't know if they really have the answer here in game number 1. Things are looking good for Changed My Mind. Kitty shot now on him in Minpoike. Looks like Nixie's trying to get some damage rolling, but Minpoike, he's been playing very well. In bear form, completely fine through that swap. Alec now having to play in a very defensive position. And what happens if Alec is in line of sight of Valet? Valet, with his Dispel magic, is able to remove all those heal over time effects, as well as the Ice Barrier, which is a crucial part of a Frost Mage defense. If you can get off that Ice Barrier, it's a huge absorb shield that they no longer have to deal with. Nice little swap coming in from Change My Mind. Vendetta on Nixie. He should be able to survive with Iron Bark, with Feint. A lot of damage reduction. Another swap here on him in Minpoike, but he's in bear form.
Yeah, I mean, Minpoike has been playing it very well. He's had a good tournament so far, really shutting up the naysayers, including us sometimes. He's had a fantastic one. I'm wondering if ABC maybe decided to lock in the Rogue Mage, thinking that the Paladin was going to come out from Minpoike, but on the Druid, he's just shut down everything so far. We see the Smoke Bomb coming out, trying to get some damage over onto Vilai. He does have that Dispersion available, the immunity essentially to damage, should he choose to use it. Another grip coming in on the Ring of Frost, but Polymorph follow-up from Alec. Well played. Acrolol's looking to deny any follows, so double growth, the Vanish coming in. Good plays all around. Vendetta from Nixie. They're still trying to force stuff here. Good crowd control over onto Minpoike. ABC, you never count them out as the Rogue Mage. They have such good synergy, such good crowd control. Full Polymorph or DR to follow it up will force the dispersion.
Yeah, and if they can continue this crowd control chain, it could be the Void Shift coming in from Valet. That would be a little bit of a disaster here for Change My Mind. Full blind on Asgarath into a full sap. What is Acro going to be able to do? Lands a cheap shot onto Alec, but there's not too much follow-up damage here from Valet. It's just been pressured down way too much. It's been good control in the matchup so far from ABC, but you can see Asgarath, he's falling behind on mana, activating his Innervate, wants to keep his team nice and healthy, and this might be an opportunity after the Iron Bark, as well as that precious Innervate, to try to sneak away and go for a drink.
Yep, Minpoike trinkets out of this blind, so they're starting to feel the heat from ABC now. No dispersion, good Cyclone from Asgarath, but the mana, look at the mana. Asgarath already down to 30%. He's dealing so, I mean, it's just so difficult because the Shadow Priest spam purges all of those heal over time effects from the Restoration Druid. Now they're swapping damage over onto Nixie. They're really generating high levels of pressure here, forcing out that Cloak of Shadows, big immunity to all the Shadow Priest damage. Nixie, a huge cooldown forced out there. We see a trinket, a stun over onto Minpoike. They're trying to get swaps to him. They're actually committing here. They use the Melt to get the really cheap shot. That forces out the Bark Skin. Minpoike now very exposed. No Bark Skin, no Trinket on him, no Trinket on Vilai. If they could cross CC, they could deny the Void Shift and land the kill.
Yeah, Minpoike could be in a little bit of trouble, but he does manage to sneak away. Acro caught into a Frost Dome, and this is one of the problems. If Minpoike is pressured down, there's always the threat of the kidney shot. If he gets caught into a kidney shot, well, there's a Polymorph on Acro. All of a sudden, there's no longer a Dispel available, and Acro just gets caught into all kinds of crowd control. Minpoike in bear form. Once again, good pressure here. Coming in from ABC. Minpoike does manage to survive. There wasn't that much burst damage available. Alec looking for an Avid Volt. This could be big damage on him in Minpoike. A little bit of trouble, but he does have the Iron Bark if he needs it. Acro committing his Vendetta, looking for some pressure. Bash on Asgarath. Minpoike trying to help out his team with some crowd control, but ABC does manage to hold on. If you look, Nixie, he actually has his Vendetta, so this could be dangerous for Minpoike.
Yeah, it's actually... Minpoike is running the Balance Affinity, which we've seen the benefits because it helps them with the crowd control, which they very much need in this matchup, but it does expose him as a target, so he's really challenging ABC. He's saying, hey, punish me for this Balance Affinity. And so far, he's done a fantastic job of denying that. He's been constantly in bear form, kiting well, playing well in general. He's had a good tournament. Once again, the kidney shot coming in here. This is the Icy Veins, the Vendetta. Barkskin to answer. Good crowd control over onto Vilay. The DR cheap shot. Scary times. There's no void shift available at this moment in time due to the crowd control. But he might not even need it. Double skin comes in the Maldict. Life swap forced at the nick of time. Vilay coming in clutch for his team.
Yeah, definitely, but that was a close call. ABC has had so much pressure at this point. Changed My Mind is kind of falling apart. Vilay trying to play catch-up right now, activating the Vampiric Embrace, but Alec, just so much control. This is what I'm talking about. If they can pressure down Minpoike, all of a sudden, Alec and Asgaroth, they can go to town with crowd control, and Minpoike can't help out with Dispels. He's just getting low. ABC looking to take him down. Nixie all over him. Gets the life grip behind the pillar. Vilay looking to throw in some Shadow Mans. Can Minpoike survive? Nice interrupt by Nixie. Minpoike throws in a bash, looking for a full Cyclone. That's the crowd control Minpoike needs to potentially escape, but Alec just keeping him locked down, keeping him snared, not allowing him to get fully healthy. And now mana is looking bad for both of these druids.
Yeah, ABC, this is where they're the best. They spam crowd controlling the DPS. The Shadow Priest, of course, one of the main weaknesses is, you know, you don't have a counter spell, you don't have a spell lock, so you can't really stop this spam Mage Druid crowd control. So they just CC him, do the damage over onto Minpoike. I actually wouldn't mind seeing them tunnel him with this Balance Affinity. I think it might be their best strategy in the matchup. Swapping some damage back over onto Vilay, but should be able to heal through that easily. He also has the Dispersion should it be needed. Asgraf, meanwhile, completely out of mana. Nixie, no Cloak of Shadows. This Iron Bark is the last line of defense. Following this, Nixie, if he gets caught up in a kidney, he could easily die. Here comes the kidney shot. This could be it. A preemptive stun onto Vilay, though, should prevent a lot of this incoming damage. Good Cyclone from Minpoike to stabilize his team.
That was actually a bit of a disaster. I'm pretty sure that was a DR kidney shot coming in from Acro, and that could have just closed out the game. Wasted opportunity from Change My Mind. Maybe C can stabilize. Vilay could be in some trouble. He still has the Dispersion if he really needs it. Bash on him in Poike. Has his Trinket. Alec looking for a full Ring of Frost, landing the double. Now Nixie, though, he's the one that's actually in a lot of trouble. Can he be able to survive? He does have the evasion as well as the feint as well as the vanish, so I think he's okay. Swap now over on Acro with the polymorph on Minpoike. ABC switching it up. Minpoike forced to Trinket out with the Iron Bark. Cheap shot on his Trinket. Nixie extending the crowd control chain. Can Acro survive? Growth silence on both rogues. I'm in trouble. I'm scared for both of these rogues, Adrian.
Yeah, I don't know who smoke bomb that is, man. It could be game over for Acro. He's so low on health. The mind control, the ice block. Desperate times call for desperate measures has changed my mind. Flail to survive, but surely they will not. And the kill comes in for ABC 1-0 in the series.
So well played by Change My Mind, almost finding that, but you're going into ABC, one of their best compositions. Could this be the comps that we see throughout all of the maps in this series, Ego, or do we expect some changes to be happening?
I think that as long as ABC isn't forced off this composition, this is what they're going to be playing. And, having sat down with Method Black prior to this tournament, they said that ABC has been really, really hard to beat in mirrors due to this exact same strategy where they essentially just tunnel the enemy healer, spam out crowd control on the DPS, and then, of course, when they find an opportunity like this, Alec kind of trying to save Nixie here, gets a beautiful double Ring of Frost, and then they manage to just turn around the pressure back onto Acro. And, a lot of this also came down to a poor Trinket used by Acro earlier on, forcing him to essentially sit up blind as well. I mean, Poike, he should have Trinketed out of that Ring of Frost immediately and dispelled Vilay to allow them to stay aggressive, but maybe there was some miscommunication between them. Now, however, earlier on during the match, we saw ABC kind of just sit on Vilay and try to play that standard Rogue Mage Druid strategy that we expect, where they're crowd controlling the healer, they're going after the Shadow Priest, but they were losing big time on mana, they were losing big time on cooldowns. They did the mid-game adaptation of essentially doing their mirror strategy, and it went a lot better. So I expect ABC to stick with this composition and just right off the get-go immediately target Minpoike in the next match.
Well, you heard from Zico on the desk. Now we're going to jump down to the main stage to hear from Maya.
Hey guys, before this matchup, I was able to catch up with Nixie of ABC, and this is a team, Change My Mind, they didn't really expect them to make it this far, and this isn't really something that they prepared for. They still feel like they had a good idea of what they were going to play, but this isn't something that they were expecting. On to the side of Change My Mind, I was able to catch up with Acro, and he was still coming down from that high of their last victory. And they felt a little bit uneasy, a little bit unsure of ABC. They have a wide range of comps that they weren't really sure what they were going to play, but we'll see if they can turn it around and get another victory. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
All right, well, I will say, it's not very often that you do see a player blowing their nose on stream. It has happened a few times. Raikou picking his nose, that was in Europe, he won the entire thing, won the entire tournament. Last series, we actually saw Chan blow his nose. What happened? He won the series.
I'm not sure these players are going to be happy that you mentioned. I mean, yes, they won.
This is Rich's analysis.
What's yours? Mine's not wrong. Mine's a fact. Mine's a fact. I don't even have to make a
just
prediction.
went on a 2-minute tangent about mine.
ABC's going to win this series. We just saw Nixie blowing his nose. Change my mind. Hell, that's going to be the task of Change My Mind. And you can see these compositions are going to be brought out yet again. How's Hook Point actually going to change things, Zico?
Well, Hook Point is going to be very interesting because it's going to make the game a lot more aggressive. You're going to be essentially be able to do a lot more damage to Minpoike if you are ABC. But on the flip side, you're also going to have less room to essentially spam slow everybody if you are Alec, which of course allows Acro to have more uptime and be more disruptive. So the map is mainly going to just make the entire game more fast-paced, more aggression on both sides.
More faster, more momentum, more aggression. That is what we're going to see. ABC leads in the series. Can Change My Mind even up the scale?
Yeah, Change My Mind looking to claim an edge on a smaller map like Hook Point. It's going to be much more difficult for Alec to run and hide, escape. He's been doing a phenomenal job in this tournament so far, making it very difficult for these melee to actually chase him down. And this strategy ABC is kind of known for, crowd control up the DPS, go on to the healer. I can't help but wonder if Minpoike is going to be playing that balance affinity once again.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll have to see when the extension updates. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go over to the Guardian because, I mean, honestly, the balance affinity, it wasn't necessarily super beneficial. I mean, it's great because, you know, in the Mighty Bash war between the two druids, you have a bit more range, makes it easier, especially where both teams are guaranteed to have the same ping, since we're in a live environment, that Minpoike should win those battles, but it's a risk, the way that ABC likes to play Rogue Mage, definitely a risk. So we'll have to see the Mind Bomb coming out onto Asgraf, the crowd control early. They're putting more attention over onto Nixie earlier in this game, whereas last game they went on Alec. I think this is better in terms of winning mana. It might even be better in terms of winning the game. See the step coming in, double smoke bomb both teams. The mind controls coming in from Vilay, not really going to get the kill here, but they forced a lot of cooldowns.
Yeah, they got evasion, they got Cloak of Shadows. Those are long cooldowns. Nixie's going to be vulnerable. He still has his trinket. Asgaroth does not. So if Change My Mind, they can get one crowd control. You can see Vilay's positioning in a way where he's dispelling off the heal over time effects on Nixie, looking to get close, potentially looking for some crowd control. Acro moving forward, but a beautiful snare from that Ray of Frost makes it difficult. And Poike in a good position. You can tell ABC, they're anticipating this next swap. Nixie just behind the pillar. He knows he's vulnerable. He doesn't want to give Change My Mind any openings.
Yeah, and the thing is, the longer Nixie just kind of stands out, he's also burning Asgraf's mana because unlike the mage who has like the kind of dispel protection from, you know, the ice barrier and things like this, Nixie's basically naked beyond the heal over time effects coming out of Asgraf, and those are just getting purged off consistently. Asgraf needs to apply those because that's how he heals. It's how he preempts, you know, the silence mind bomb combinations. You see a swap here over onto Alec because Nixie has been playing so defensively, but now that Nixie's back in the open, I'd love to see them just get damage onto him as much as possible. He seems to be the one that they get the most pressure on, but they need to be careful since Acro also traded out, you know, the Vanish, Cloak of Shadows, the evasion, the trinket. He has nothing left either. It's really a very cutthroat series, this one.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Minpoike is playing that balance affinity, so if ABC decides to make a swap on him, they could really punish that talent choice on the side of Minpoike. Now, full kidney shot on Valet with a Cyclone on Minpoike. It does fade. Valet should be able to survive this, and that's one of the strengths of the Shadow Priest is you have really low cooldown defensives. Not only do you have Dispersion, you have the Greater Fade, and these are really good abilities for avoiding damage and surviving. And I think it's one of the reasons why teams have just really struggled taking down Valet in these matchups so far.
Yep, and that's happening once again here. We see damage, though, coming out over onto him. Minpoike is free healing. He is playing that balance affinity once again. We can see the blind trinketed by Minpoike. Nice play. Vanish comes out from Nixie. He's looking to make some plays. Cheap shot. No follow, though. Good Garrote from Acro. Trade Vanish for Vanish. We see now maybe a swap over onto Nixie. Big damage coming in. Ironbark answers from Asgraf, who's down to about 40% of that mana resource. Healing will become a problem soon. Even the Star Surges coming in from Minpoike, superstar on the day. Vilay under pressure, needs to get topped off though. Does have that dispersion, does have that greater fade, so he should be fine for now.
Yeah, I think he will be able to survive, and Vilay holding onto that trinket. He knows He needs to save it for that Void Shift, and Poike was in so much trouble earlier on. Valet barely got off that Void Shift in game number 1 to keep him alive. Unfortunately, he did end up falling, but still, Valet partnering those 2 cooldowns is going to be very important for his team to survive. Nixie under pressure right now. Both teams playing a lot more cautious in game number 2 than game number 1. Potentially, you realize how vulnerable both of these rogues are, and they don't want to give the enemy team any edge.
Yeah, and I mean, the advantage both these teams have had is that they have been under no pressure all tournament. Now that they've both beaten heavy favorites for the tournament, they're going to feel like there is a bit of pressure here. You know, this is an easier matchup for both of them in terms of the betting books. So you would think that ABC and Change My Mind both fancy their chances here. They both don't want to throw the game, so they're playing, you know, a little bit more cautiously, like you said, Ben. And sometimes that's not actually good. Sometimes going for those risky plays helps. We see a big swap over onto Minpoike. Barkskin, Cyclone onto Vilai. It looks like he wants to hold on to the Void Shift anyways. Does have the trinket. He's been playing more carefully, like you said, holding on to that cooldown. Cyclone coming out. Minpoike, counterspell forced. Good crowd control from ABC. You can really start to see they're in their element, but mana is still a problem.
Yeah, this is the problem when you go up against an experienced Frost Mage Restoration Druid. There's a lot of control, but you can see one of the things that aren't going in ABC's favor is the fact that Asgarath's mana is really bad, and on this small map, it's so difficult for him to sneak away, try to drink, and recover that mana. That definitely will be an edge for Change My Mind as we have just stepped foot into dampening. Triple crowd control onto the team of Change My Mind. Interrupt on Minpoike, Cyclone on Valet. He actually trinkets out to continue the crowd control chain. They want to try to take down Nixie. He's got no trinket, no Cloak of Shadows. Vanish trades out to survive. Triple cheap shot coming in from Nixie, but a nice kidney shot from Acro. Nixie's in a lot of trouble. Can he survive? Asgarath spamming out some casts. Nixie shadow steps away, but Mind Control keeps him locked down, trying to bring him back in the open, but that gets shut down by Alec. Close call for Nixie.
Yeah, that was actually expertly dealt with by ABC there. I thought that Change My Mind had set up everything perfectly. They forced the Ironbark, they forced the evasion, went for the Vendetta play, but Alec, great crowd control, like you say. So frustrating to play against these Mage Druids. When they want to live, they're hard to kill. Asgarath, though, still low on mana, down to 5%. Resources low on the side of ABC here on Hook Point. This small map playing into the advantage of the team that chose it. Change My Mind. Kidney shot onto Acro. Blind, trinketed by Minpoike. Good play from him, respecting the damage. Still triple CCs though. They're looking for the Ring of Frost. Nicely played. Asgarath and Alec come together again. Both rogues at about 20% health. Safeguards proc on both sides here.
Yep, Acro, Shadow Meld on the Maledict. Now a cheap shot on to Nixie. Can he take him down? There's a kidney shot bash on Asgarath, and keep in mind, Asgarath, he's got no mana left. Nixie's low. Both these rogues could fall at any moment. Cloak of Shadows now available for Nixie. Acro has to hold on just a little bit longer. Beautiful Vortex there, keeping Acro locked down. Beautiful plays coming in from Asgarath. And ABC up in this series 2-0.
ABC looking like they may be able to close this one out. Each one getting fought very down to the wire. Zika, why do we see time and time again now ABC finding the edge?
It's just clutch play. They get Minpoike's trinket with that blind, immediate bash into Ring of Frost, and you gotta give it up for Asgarath, honestly. That Vortex in the end is gonna be one of the best plays we've seen this entire tournament. I mean, Delay does an insane play here.
That's feels bad.
That's the biggest feels bad. You grip the bomb. Here, first, Minpoike trinkets, he gets bashed up, he gets Ring of Frosted, Delay, of course, he's trying to get that Master Spell. Now Acro thinks he's safe, he has that Ironbark active as well, he's starting to stabilize, you know, Nixie's getting stunned up, Acro is still fairly low-ish here, Minpoike playing a little bit aggressive, and then as soon as that stun diminishing returns comes back, Nixie's gonna look to get that full kidney shot, the Delay grips the bomb, and Asgarath sucks him right back into that smoke bomb. Minpoike can't do anything about it, and look at Asgarath's mana as well. That was the final play of the game.
That's the second best game of the tournament. I think we all want some Vortex like that in our life. Asgarath was one of the healers as well that every single person was talking about when we got to this tournament. Not necessarily because of the Vortex plays that he just had, the absolutely clutch plays that he just had, but because of how aggressive he was playing, especially in those war games. Adrian, have we seen a lot of that? People were even talking about how he was gearing more aggressively. Is he going for those plays?
I mean, he was running a very interesting build on the Restoration Druid. Traditionally, you see a lot of mastery since there's a lot of single target healing in PvP. So the mastery, you know, every single heal over time you have, you do more healing. If you have 20% mastery, carries, 20% more healing per hot. You know, those numbers add up pretty fast, especially with like all the Azerite trades contributing, etc. But in the war games, he was running versatility haste, just so that they could deal pure damage during the crowd control with the feral affinity, with the master shapeshifter. I think here he's kind of going in the middle. You know, you see him with the feral affinity, but he's not going the full, you know, he needs the mastery to heal through the damage. I think he's probably going a bit more haste against the purge, but I don't think he's going full versatility. But I mean, I just wanted to say one other thing about that play is that Askaraf, in order to make that Vortex play, to even think about that Vortex play, he has so much respect for Vilai that he's like, Vilai's going to grip this bomb. I know he's going to grip this bomb. Otherwise, that Vortex is completely useless.
Yep.
These two teams know, not only are they playing out their mind, they know the other team is playing out their mind too. And that's what makes it such a great series.
Well, there obviously is a level of knowledge and respect between these teams. I mean, Minpoike, literally an old teammate of this squad before Askrath was there. And Valet, he's not somebody you can count out at all. He's a big reason that they've been able to even stay in this, stepping it up with only 3 men on the roster. The question is, when we return, are they going to be able to start turning this train around, or is it going to be a 3-0 for ABC, the team with options? We have a roster of only 3 guys here in Change My Mind. They've already done the near impossible time and time again without their mage in Fried. But Minpoike and his teammates are trying to make a huge statement. They want to go for that deep run, and Poike wants to be able to take down a squad of his former teammates and then a squad of his former teammates kicked from both of those rosters. Can he manage to get his revenge, to get his justice? He needs to get a reverse sweep to do it. Will Poike find justice?
I'm not sure. ABC is on fire in this matchup so far. All 3 members have been making sick plays. It seems like they have just perfect communication, coordination, and execution with their strategies. I think this is going to be a really difficult game for Change My Mind to take down.
I think it's going to be difficult. I think if I was to put a tiny little critique on anything from Change My Mind, it would be maybe Vilai could be running the crit haste build here. We saw him running it a little bit yesterday. Since they're not going for him as the main kill target, he doesn't need the versatility. The reason you play versatility haste is to avoid dying. You know, you get damage reduction, but the crit haste is much more damage overall, and their win condition is ooming Askaraf, so maybe they could swap over to that with the Spiteful Apparition Azerite trade, something that they might have considered since Acrolaws has died in the last 2 games. But that said, we see early pressure onto Alec. They're swapping back to him a little bit, and maybe they also feel like they put too much pressure onto Nixie. He's a bit of a bait. It's hard to actually take down the rogue even if you can get him low.
Yeah, and they actually are going after Valet this game. Katie shot, smoke bomb, cheap shot, and Poike into a bash. This could be the dispersion, is forced out, but a maledict. Valet could be in a little bit of trouble right now. He cancels the dispersion. His power word shield up. He's trying to just line of sight some damage the best he can, looking for a Shadow Man, but he's still in trouble. Minpoike is still in CC. If this is the void shift, this is disastrous for Change My Mind.
Yeah, it's not looking fantastic. Acrola's also low. We see the void shift traded out there from Vilai. Both these players low on health right now. Minpoike's got some work to do. They should be able to survive. The Vampiric Embrace as well from Vilai. DR Polymorph, so much crowd control. ABC are really finding their stride. I was saying during the break, like, these guys, they're not looking like a 4th place team from Europe. And last time we had a Spring Finals 2018, it was the 4th seed Reformed that were able to win that tournament. ABC looking to follow that checklist, follow that suit. Askaraf and Alec are really catching fire. And, you know, a team that doesn't practice so much, the more they play, the more tournament games they get under their belt, the more they're going to improve. And they might even start to challenge Method Black and C9 if they come off this series 3-0.
I mean, they definitely could. ABC has so much experience under their belt. These 3 players won BlizzCon together. I mean, 2 years ago, these guys were owning it up in the BlizzCon finals and became the BlizzCon champion. Now Mind Bomb onto Asgarath. Alec forced into his first ice block of the match. Temporal Shield gets dispelled. Nicely done by Valet. Change My Mind, starting to find some pressure in this match. And like I kind of talked about, you go after the Shadow Priest, sure. You know, they get the dispersion, they get the fade, but those cooldowns, they rotate up so quickly that Valet has all those defensives once again, whereas for Alec, ice block, 4-minute cooldown, cold snap, 5-minute cooldown. So it takes a little bit longer for those cooldowns to really rotate back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of greedy from Alec to not use that cold snap. Maybe he's kind of saving it so he can do a double ice barrier play later in the game, but the longer he holds onto that cold snap, assuming they force another block in the next 4 minutes, which I think is fairly likely if they tunnel Alec, it's just going to mean that his third ice block is going to rotate up much slower. So interesting play coming out of Alec in this situation. ABC, though, still in good situation. They force another trinket off of Minpoike. Their overall pressure has been much higher this game, as is shown by the mana pools. Minpoike, who has traditionally been doing much better than Asgraf, is actually having a fantastic game on mana, or having a much worse game on mana right now, down to 50%.
Yeah, mana not doing so well. Asgrath, what is he going to be able to do? Actually, it's relatively even, so we'll have to see exactly how this plays out. Nixie's still on Minpoike, and one thing I like about the way ABC is playing this is they're kind of all over the place. They go on Minpoike, let's go on to Valet, drop the smoke bomb. Okay, now Acro's looking good. Like, they're not just doing the same strategy all game. They're really keeping Change My Mind guessing, but things are looking good for Change My Mind. They get the second ice block. Alec is really vulnerable. On this map, there's not too many places he can run and hide. In the open, he will be for most of the game. And Valet, if he can get those offensive dispels out, it's really difficult for Asgrath to actually top him off. Smoke bomb, kidney shot. Alec with a double shimmer, looking to get away, as far away as possible from Acro, but Acro reconnects. Alec gets interrupted. Asgrath with the Iron Bark Dispel. Can he keep Alec alive? There is no shimmer available for Alec. He just has to spam out the polymorphs. There's a lot of crowd control, a lot of damage out as they make a swap over on him in Minpoike. And it seems like whenever Alec's in trouble, what they try to do is just pressure Minpoike. That allows Alec and Asgrath some freedom. Just throw out polymorphs, throw out Cyclone without really limiting the pressure that they have over on to Change My Mind.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I honestly feel like it's starting to be the target change that was the big thing for Change My Mind here. Alec just seems so much better. No trinket, no ice blocks for 5 minutes on Alec. He temporal shields, kites behind the pillar. He's not going to die on this attempt, but I'm pretty sure Asgraf trinketed a kidney shot, meaning that the blind may well be available momentarily for Acro. Lost that Vendetta. Scary cooldown from the Assassination Rogue is also available. Here comes the kidney shot. Good Iron Bark, but no Vendetta committed. This could be the play that they needed. No Iron Bark, no Ice Block, no Trinket. Any CC could potentially win the game for Change My Mind.
Yep, full polymorph on him in Minpoike. Valet looking for a mass dispel, but unfortunately caught into the kidney shot. Now Alec looking to get aggressive, looking for a polymorph, manages to find it. Valet with the Greater Fade, but the Ray of Frost goes through it, and Valet takes a huge hit of damage, forced into the dispersion. Now Valet's in some trouble. Nice Cyclone from Asgrath, frees him up. Doesn't allow him to actually top off Valet. He's stuck in that, and now a Cyclone on him in Minpoike. This crowd control from ABC has been insane, and Valet, he's still in a lot of trouble. There's no dispersion, there's no Greater Fade, there's no Void Shift. He gets interrupted, huge burst damage from Alec, Minpoike trying to hold on.
Yep, we see the kidney shot, the smoke bomb, trinket comes out from Villi. Their offense has been turned into defense by ABC. Excellent plays from the former BlizzCon champions here. They're looking to put the final nail in the coffin, the final resting place, if you will, for Change My Mind in the Spring Finals 2019. Cyclones pausing the game. Both these Resto Druids are main Resto Druids. They're playing fantastically. You can tell why Europe really likes these Restoration Druid metas. They've been doing such a good job. Now we see the silence into the Mind Bomb, trying to set up damage onto Alec, but since they have so much momentum, he's able to use those Sheep DRs on the DPS now that he's in trouble. Sheeps up Acro, gets the Ring of Frost, cross CC once again, ABC on fire.
Yep, 3v1 situation. Valet, what are you gonna do? Comet Storm lands onto Valet, still trying to kite away, and Poike does manage to find the Iron Bark, and that should keep Valet alive at 9% dampening. Things are gonna start really becoming difficult for both of these Resto Druids. Kitty shot on Alec. You can see he's got a minute left on that ice block. If they can hold on, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it though. Asgrath is completely tapped on mana. Finally an Innervate coming back up. He will top off Alec, keep him fully hotted up, and that will allow them to survive, but you think they're going to be able to live another minute?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a bit of that reset happening now. You know, the ice block, not available just yet, but Asgrath's trinket did rotate back up. Blind was used defensively onto Nixie, so they don't even have that to force it. Villi dropping low. We'll have to trade out something here. The dispersion coming out on very low health. This is the blind setup from Minpoike. He trinketed earlier in the game. Void Shift is available, but no trinket from Villi. They're trying to kill before it. Void Shift rotates up. They get it into Minpoike at the nick of time here. ABC forcing cooldowns left, right, and center. Here comes the kidney shot, but unfortunately, Alex sheeped him before it, so Minpoike is not as low health as he would have been. Now the DR bash, but they're not going to get the kill. Maybe a slight misplay on the side of ABC, but they're so far ahead, I'm not convinced it matters.
Asgrath had such an insane play. He dropped a Vortex on top of Minpoike, and Valet tried to life grip him or use that Leap of Faith into a Frozen Orb. That would have broke the crowd control, but he completely denied it with that play. Now Alec getting low, the silence.
Oh,
no way!
Unbelievable.
1 second left, less than 1 second left. Changed My Mind is able to put a point on the board. That was insane.
There is no way that actually just happened. Phenomenal stuff. And congratulations to the team that has gone on an absolute miracle run, pulling one more miracle out of their hat.
Yeah, and this again, I mean, this swap right here, I mean, Poike, I think, would have died if Alec didn't sheep him, because obviously when you sheep someone, they regen about 10% HP per second, and Poike managed to get, I think, 2 ticks or so. He survives on about 20%. They lose all pressure, and then, of course, Alec here, look at his ice block cooldown. 4 seconds remaining. Full silence onto Asgarath. 2 seconds left. 1 second left. You can bet Alec is standing there spamming the ice block, doesn't get it off due to that last global cooldown that he used, and unfortunately for him, he goes down. I think if he actually didn't use a global there, he would have gotten the block off.
What feels worse, getting Vortex back into a smoke bomb or not having your ice block available?
You know,
1 seconds left on the cooldown.
That was a feels bad game for both teams, but you know what was actually the big play that I noticed in the replay there is that Acrolors was stuck in a Nova. He was nowhere near Minpoke. It wasn't close enough to smoke bomb him, so instead he smoke bombs Alec on the Frostbolt there, denying that 1 second at the end of the cheap shot. Otherwise, Minpoke Pro died. So again, it's a case of, you know, big play here, big play there, big play over there. It's hard to notice everything, but these teams are playing insane.
Yeah, and I know Twitter's been going absolutely crazy. Some of the folks at home have actually been tweeting in at us, trying to be involved in the show. If you're at home right now, feel free to tweet out at us, and you can see right now one of the folks at home tweeting out, teach me how to play Shadow Priest at Valet. Wow. WizK. I actually remember WizK when he was I remember when he was a random priest on the Vindication BG. It's crazy how he's considered one of the best now. It really is crazy.
He did come second at BlizzCon, as did Valet.
As did Valet, right? But a lot of banter going on the Twitter sphere. WizK just shouting out his fellow Shadow Priest brother, the 2 best, I would feel pretty comfortable saying, Seiko.
Absolutely. I mean, we were gassing up WizK the entire last year, being able to survive as a Shadow Priest in that meta with all the jungles and the rogue mages. Really the only one able to do it. And then now Valet again. I think the only Shadow Priest we've seen in this entire tournament, really been holding it down. And of course, you know, the move didn't make it here. Playing similar composition, of course, with the Restoration Shaman. Changed My Mind, though, kind of holding that trophy now and trying to go as far as possible, playing the same composition, of course, with a different healer. So it's fun to see these guys give each other respect. I think we saw Acro as well on Twitter yesterday, posting a picture of him and Peekaboo, saying that, you know, the move, let's go, you know, kind of giving some respect to them as well. It's great to see.
And they're also one of the teams that, you know, you talk about Change My Mind and what we expect to see of them potentially moving forward into the next season. We expect a lot later in the year for them. The move, even though they did not make it here, a team that we expect to see a lot from, very close to making it to this tournament. And you can bet your bottom dollar, they're going to be trying very hard to go on a deep run once they do get back into playing. And if NA does win, that does help their case just a little bit. But Change My Mind was able to pull out one more miracle. Do they have another one in the bag, or is ABC going to be able to squash this dream run?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. Change My Mind. That was a really close game for them, but they managed to do it. This could be their miracle run. ABC can't believe they didn't win that last game. We'll have to see what exactly goes down. I mean, Alec was forced into his first ice block so early on, didn't manage to get that third one out. And like you said, Adrian, if he had just cold snapped potentially a little bit earlier, he would have had that ice block and they could have easily won the game. So those kind of calculations you really have to consider when trying to be greedy with those cooldowns.
Yeah, and actually both teams had an amazing opener last game because they got an early Void Shift out of Vilai at the start of the last game. Ended up rotating back, fortunately for them, because Minpoke definitely needed it at a later point in the game. It's one of those things where, you know, the game goes long, you never quite know, but I do think the big theme for Change My Mind was the fact that they've focused their attention on Alec. Now it's much easier to shut down the damage from a mage if Acro sits on him versus tunneling Nixie. So good play from Change My Mind, good strategy adaptation in game 3, and it definitely helped them through.
Yeah, Acro finds the sap on the Asgarath, Valet into a kidney shot. Alex is trying to play it very patient right now, out of line of sight. I like what Alec is doing. His positioning, he's always just out of line of sight of Valet. As long as Valet can't dispel his Ice Barrier, dispel those heal over time effects, he's going to be able to be a lot more durable in this matchup. But when he's in kidney shot, this is when he's susceptible. You can see Nixie getting the growth silence onto Valet, wants to slow him down just a little bit. Mind Bomb on Asgarath. Unfortunately, it doesn't go off. Because of that, now Alex can be completely fine. Now, ABC looking for crowd control. Find the bash on him in Poike. Kidney shot on Devlay. Is there any follow-up? Ring of Frost gets interrupted. Full Cyclone, though, comes in from Asgarath, and now Devlay's in some trouble.
Yep, he's definitely in a bit of trouble. The dispersion will come out to answer that. Nice play from Vilai. Respecting the damage, not using it too low. This was a Maledict push as well. Now we see Blind over onto Asgraf. Will he respect the damage? They're going to have to force him to use it. There's no Vanish from Acrolors. He used his Sap Vanish Sap combo off of a Mind Bomb earlier, so Asgraf just going to happily sit through that blind. Nice read from him, knowing that his mage was fine to kite that. Nixie was in no trouble whatsoever, so good sit, mana even. Vilai definitely a couple of cooldowns down, does have that greater fade and void shift though.
Yeah, does have a lot of defensive cooldowns he can work with at this point in the game. Nixie got into a cheap shot. Acro looking to find the pressure onto Alec. Can they get that precious ice block? That was a trinket of Alec, so that's a big defensive cooldown and allows him to get out of a full kidney shot at some point in the game, and he just used that. So the next kidney shot will be full. I believe Acro still has a smoke bomb. Vendetta rotating back up, and they can get a kidney shot with smoke bomb with Vendetta. It could easily be the first ice block out of Alec. In the meantime, Poike into a Ring of Frost, into a Sap. Nice crowd control from ABC once again. Acro trying to help out Valet the best he can. That's the void shift. Valet still in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have any defensives up whatsoever. It's getting teed off on by Alec. Finally a full kidney shot coming in from Acro, trying to slow down ABC just a little bit, but that was a big cooldown exchange from Change My Mind.
Yeah, and actually it followed up with excellent defensive play from ABC. The Cyclone onto Vilai, counteracting completely the smoke bomb from Acrolors, followed up by the Iron Bark. Once again, Alec, who had to, like you say, use both his ice blocks very early last game, has had a much more good defensive game so far as well. And honestly, this game has been all ABC. They've adapted very well to this kind of tunneling of Alec. They're going back to basics, tunneling down Vilai on the Shadow Priest, and it's been going very well for them. We see the Sap now landed onto Minpoke off that blind trinket. Comes through the Master Spell, I think also used from Vilai. Not sure that was 100% necessary, but shouldn't matter too much. Low Cyclone once again from Asgraf. Both these teams just playing excellently.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it at this point. Top 4 finishes for both these teams. Miracle runs for both of them as well. They want to continue that miracle run, and one of these teams absolutely will. It's looking good for ABC so far. Change My Mind looking to reverse sweep ABC. Can they do it? There's the Polymorph on him in Poike. Cyclone on Acro. The control's been good from ABC so far. This is a Vendetta from Nixie as well. They're trying to get super aggressive onto Valet, but struggling to kind of find the damage at this point. Alec with a Ray of Frost gets Garrote silenced. Asgrath still finding the Cyclone. Not for ABC. It just seems like they really want to focus on Valet. There's a Smoke Bomb, Comet Storm, Ice Nova. Everything traded out by Alec and Nixie to try to force that dispersion, but they are unable to get it. They realize the kill is lost, so Asgraf just wants to deny some of that heals from Minpoike with a beautiful offensive Cyclone.
Yeah, this is actually a really evenly fought match. Like, there's more control on the side of ABC. That's one of their advantages. Also, the fact that they play the Kleptomania on Alec means that Minpoike has to overgrowth consistently, which is a very expensive spell for the Druid. 6,000 mana down the drain every single time Alec uses that Kleptomania, so that's a bit scary. We see he's actually locked out on Shadow here. Barely gets that dispersion off. He might die. Spray health coming in from the Maledict. Barely stays alive. A beautiful counter spell coming in. Isn't going to be able to live. Silence Vilai. His tournament life on the line. He does go down. ABC top 3 in the spring finals.
They are going to make top 3, and ABC has just really started to hit the potential that we knew they had. Change My Mind, shattered expectations. You got to give it up for them. Both of these teams have played fantastically well. Top 3 to ABC. Change My Mind, plenty of miracles to go home with.
I mean, you can't really say anything about Change My Mind's performance in this tournament. They played out of their minds. ABC, though, as well, really showing up here. I honestly, maybe I thought they would beat Method Orange because their comps are pretty decently matched up against what Method Orange has been running, but to see ABC make it to the top 3, that's not something I was expecting at all. These teams are, 2 underdogs. This is the 3rd seed and the 4th seed from Europe making it to top 4. That's got to be really nice for them. It's got to feel great.
Now, I do want to say, Change My Mind, we're not going to get to see Poike knock down 2 of his old teams. That's not something that we can see anymore, but can we see ABC potentially make it to the grand final. What do you think they need to do, Adrian?
I mean, it's going to be very difficult, right? Like, they've got to play against Method Black now. Method Black have a phenomenal win rate against ABC. I'm not exactly sure on the numbers, but off the top of my head, I think ABC probably won like 3 or 4 games, Method Black probably 10 plus. So it's a very one-sided affair, this one, during the European Cups. But that said, LAN is a different environment. And I mean, ABC, like, the more games they play, the better they seem to get. Yes, they've only brought 2 or 3 compositions. They've been relying on this Elemental Mage and the Rogue Mage, but I actually want to say that Elemental Mage might be the answer even to what Cloud9 was running.
Yeah, and you know, with that logic, look at Wildcard Gaming, right? I mean, Wildcard Gaming has been destroying in the online environment, and they've made it to LAN, and they don't perform at the level that a lot of people do expect them to perform at. But one more second, I do want to put some attention on Change My Mind. When they get back to those online cups, Ven, do you think that after this experience of playing with their squad of 3, playing compositions that you don't think of as their main compositions, that you don't think of as in vogue, as in the meta, do you think that this makes the team a stronger force?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what we were saying at the beginning of this tournament. Although they're coming to this tournament with just 3 members, it kind of forces them to experiment, play a little bit outside of their comfort zone. And I mean, like you kind of said, you can bet that these guys are happy with their performance. And now that they have this new composition, I think the summer season's going to fare a lot better for them.
Well, ABC has made it to the top 3. We're going to jump down to the stage to hear from Alec.
Hey guys, I'm here with Alec of ABC. Now, you guys struggled a little bit this season. What was different about this weekend?
Well, we wanted to win, and during the season we just wanted to qualify, so yeah.
Now, I think we got to give it up for Change My Mind. I don't think any of us expected them to get this far. Is there any words you'd like to say to them?
They played phenomenal. I'm really happy for their team. They overcame obstacles and really creative, and they played so sick. Like, respect.
Now, you told me you had a shout out to give. What do you have to say?
I want to give a shout out to Lena and Kiara, who are probably watching, and to Chris wants to give a shout out to Group Therapy. It's his raiding guild, and they're pretty good. So shout out to them too.
All right, well, thank you for chatting with me. Back to you guys at the desk.
Definitely take those times to grab those shout-outs when you're up on the main stage, but this is a team that may have some more opportunities for shout-outs. They have opponents that in the past you would assume they would go down to, but so far they have just looked better and better than we expected. You'll see that reflected on the bracket. This was a team where one of our critiques was they couldn't really take down those top 2 teams in Europe. The top 2 teams in Europe seemed to be on another dimension than what we saw out of ABC and Change My Mind. That's changed here.